Don't sit with me tonight. He gets weird when you're around. She said about her coworker while getting ready. I said, all right, and stayed back. Packed everything instead. She came home after midnight to a locked place. Started calling in panic. I said, you got what you wanted, and hung up. I, 30, male, had been with Lauren, 27, for 3 years when she stood in our bedroom, applying lipstick in the mirror, and told me not to come to her work dinner because her coworker Jason gets weird when I'm around. I watched her for a moment. She wasn't asking. She was informing me. I said, all right. She smiled, relieved, kissed my cheek like I'd just done her a favor, and walked out the door. The moment it clicked shut, I pulled out my phone and called the locksmith. Then I called my landlord. Then I started packing her things, piece by piece, into neat boxes. By the time she came home after midnight, fumbling with a key that no longer worked, the apartment was mine. The lease was in my name. Her belongings were in the spare bedroom. And when my phone lit up with her panicked calls, I answered once. You got what you wanted, I said. He won't get weird anymore. Then I hung up and blocked her number. She spent the night in a hotel. I slept like I hadn't slept in months. Lauren and I met at a mutual friend's barbecue 3 years ago. She worked in marketing at a tech startup. I worked in logistics for a shipping company. We had different schedules, different circles, but somehow it worked. At least, it worked for the first 2 years. We moved in together after 18 months. A 2-bedroom apartment in the city, $1,500 a month, split down the middle. She took the closet space. I took the second bedroom as an office. It felt like progress, like we were building something. But somewhere around month 6 of living together, things shifted. It started small. She stopped asking about my day. I'd come home, and she'd be on her phone, texting, smiling at the screen. When I asked who she was talking to, she'd say work stuff and put the phone face down. I didn't push. I trusted her. Then the late night started. Client presentation tomorrow. I need to stay and prep. She'd text at 7 p.m. She'd come home at 11, smelling like wine and cologne that wasn't mine. I'd ask how it went. She'd say fine and go straight to bed. I noticed, but I didn't say anything. Then, about 8 months ago, I started hearing a name. Jason. Jason helped with the campaign. Jason stayed late to fix the presentation. Jason suggested a new strategy that impressed the client. Jason. I met him once. At a company holiday party I was invited to. He was tall, early 30s, wore a suit that probably cost more than my rent. When Lauren introduced me as her boyfriend, he shook my hand, said, cool, and immediately turned back to her to finish a story about a client meeting. I felt it then. The way he stood close. The way she angled her body toward him. The way she laughed at something that wasn't even funny. But I told myself I was reading too much into it. That was my first mistake. 3 months ago, the invitations started changing. At first, I was included. Work dinners, team events, client mixers. Lauren would say, there's a thing Friday, wanna come? And I'd go. I'd stand next to her, make small talk with her coworkers, smile through conversations about campaigns I didn't understand. But I noticed Jason was always there. And I noticed the way he looked at her when he thought I wasn't watching. Then one Friday, she said, there's a dinner tonight. Just the core team, though? You'd probably be bored. I said, okay, and stayed home. The next week, another dinner. Client thing. Super boring. Don't worry about it. The week after that, a happy hour. Just blowing off steam. You wouldn't know anyone. I stopped being invited. And I stopped asking why. Instead, I started paying attention to other things. She started getting ready differently on those nights. More makeup, tighter dresses, perfume I didn't recognize. She'd check her reflection 3 times before leaving. When I complimented her, she'd say thanks without looking at me. One night, I suggested we go to dinner. Just us. She said she was tired. The next night, she went out with Jason and the team until midnight. I asked once, casually, do you talk to Jason a lot outside of work? She froze. Then she looked at me like I'd accused her of something terrible. He's my coworker, she said, voice tight. We talk about work. At 10 p.m. on a Saturday? It's about the campaign. The client's demanding. You wouldn't understand. I nodded. I didn't argue. But I started screenshotting things. Not her messages. I never touched her phone. But I started keeping track of patterns. The nights she said she was working late, that lined up with Jason's Instagram stories at bars downtown. The time she came home smelling like whiskey when she told me she'd been at the office. I wasn't building a case. I was just watching the story write itself. 2 weeks ago, I was lying in bed, reading, when Lauren walked in from the bathroom. She was getting dressed. Black dress, the one I'd bought her for her birthday. Heels. Makeup. Where are you going? I asked. Work dinner. Client appreciation thing. I waited. Usually, even when she didn't want me there, she'd at least offer a half-hearted, wanna come, that I could politely decline. This time, she didn't. Should I get ready? I asked. She paused, lipstick in hand. She looked at me in the mirror. Don't sit with me tonight, she said. He gets weird when you're around. I stared at her. Who gets weird? Jason. The room went completely silent. She said it like she was commenting on the weather. Like it was normal. Like prioritizing another man's comfort over my presence was just a logistical decision. I didn't yell. I didn't move. I just looked at her and said, all right. She seemed relieved. She smiled, grabbed her purse, walked over, and kissed my cheek. Thanks for understanding, she said. Then she left. I sat there for maybe 10 seconds, staring at the door. Then I stood up, walked to the closet, and pulled out the suitcases. Update 1. I didn't hesitate. I didn't sit there spiraling or overthinking. I moved with the kind of clarity you only get when you've been ignoring something for too long and finally stop lying to yourself. First, I called my landlord. His name was Tom. We'd rented from him for 18 months, always paid on time, never caused problems. He picked up on the second ring. Tom, it's me. I need to talk to you about the lease. Everything okay? My girlfriend and I are separating. I want to take over the lease in my name only. There was a pause. She agreed to that. She's moving out, I said. It wasn't technically true yet, but it would be in a few hours. All right. I'll send the paperwork in the morning. Can you send it tonight? I'll sign and return it before midnight. Another pause. Yeah. Give me an hour. Thanks. I hung up. Then I called a locksmith. The guy who answered sounded half asleep. 24-hour locksmith, what do you need? I need my locks changed. Tonight. How soon can you get here? It's 8:30 on a Tuesday. Earliest I can do is tomorrow morning. I'll pay double if you come in the next hour. He perked up. Where are you? I gave him the address. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Make it 20 and I'll add another 50. He made it in 18. While I waited, I started packing. Not my things. Hers. I didn't throw anything. I didn't damage anything. I folded her clothes carefully, sorted her shoes, packed her toiletries into boxes. I moved everything into the spare bedroom, stacked neatly against the wall. I wasn't angry. I was methodical. The locksmith arrived at 8:48. His name was Rick. He looked at the door, asked if I wanted just the main lock or the deadbolt too. I said both. He said it'd be $160. I handed him $200 in cash and told him to keep it. He had the locks changed in 15 minutes. He handed me 2 new keys. I thanked him. He left. I sat down on the couch and waited. At 9:15, the lease paperwork came through. I signed it electronically, scanned my ID, and sent it back. By 9:30, the apartment was legally mine. Lauren came home at 12:42 a.m. I know the exact time because I heard her key scrape the lock. Once. Twice. A pause. Then again. Then my phone started ringing. Update 2. I let it ring 3 times before I picked up. Why isn't my key working? Her voice was high, confused, a little slurred. I kept my tone calm. Because it's not your apartment anymore. What? You heard me. Are you serious right now? Open the door. No. We live together. You can't just lock me out. I can't actually. The lease is in my name now. You're not on it. Silence. Then, you're joking. You wanted Jason to feel comfortable. Now he can. You got what you wanted. Over one comment. Are you insane? I hung up. The phone rang again. I declined the call. It rang again. I blocked her number. Then I heard her through the door. Open this door right now. Her voice was louder, angrier. You can't do this. This is my home too. I turned on the TV. Put on a rerun of a show I'd seen a dozen times. Raised the volume. I'm calling the cops, she yelled. I waited. She didn't call the cops. Because she knew, legally, she had no ground to stand on. After 20 minutes, the knocking stopped. I checked the peephole. She was gone. I went to bed. I slept better than I had in 6 months. Update 3. I woke up at 7, made coffee, checked my email. The finalized lease documents were waiting. I saved a copy to my phone, printed another for my records. By 8 a.m., the apartment was mine. Legally, completely, irrevocably mine. I checked my phone. 17 missed calls from numbers I didn't recognize. I deleted the voicemails without listening. I knew what they'd say. Angry, desperate, pleading. I didn't need to hear it. At 9, there was a knock at the door. I checked the peephole. It was Mia, Lauren's best friend. I opened the door. "What the hell did you do?" she said, voice sharp. "I ended a relationship where I wasn't being respected. She's sobbing in a hotel room right now. She has nowhere to go. She has plenty of places to go. Just not here." Mia stepped closer. "You changed the locks over one comment? That's psychotic." I held up a hand. "Stop. Let's be clear about what happened. She told me not to come to a work dinner because another man, her coworker, gets uncomfortable when I'm around. She prioritized his feelings over mine. That's not one comment. That's a choice. A choice that told me exactly where I stand in her life." Mia opened her mouth, then closed it. "Her things are in the spare bedroom," I continued. "You can take them now, or I'll have them donated by the end of the week. Your choice." She stared at me for a long moment. Then she walked inside. I led her to the spare bedroom, opened the door. Everything was there, packed neatly, labeled clearly. Mia looked at the boxes, then at me. "You really did this." I did. She didn't say anything else. She grabbed 2 boxes, carried them to her car. She came back twice more. I helped her load everything. The whole time, neither of us spoke. When the last box was in her trunk, she turned to me. "She's going to try to talk to you." "I know. Are you going to listen?" "No." Mia nodded slowly. "For what it's worth, I think she messed up. But this feels extreme." "That's your opinion. You're entitled to it." She got in her car and left. Update 4. Over the next 3 days, Mia came back twice with another friend. They cleared out everything. Clothes, books, kitchenware Lauren had brought when she moved in. I didn't see Lauren once. She sent her friends to do it. On day 4, I got an email. The subject line was blank. The message said, "Can we talk?" I didn't respond. On day 5, another email. "I know you're angry, but this is childish. We need to talk like adults." I deleted it. On day 6, she tried a different approach. "I stayed at Jason's last night. Just so you know." I stared at the message for a full minute. Then I typed back, "Good luck with that." I didn't hear from her for 2 weeks after that. But I heard about her. Update 5. 2 weeks later, I ran into Marcus at the gym. He was a mutual friend, someone who worked adjacent to Lauren's company. We did a set together, and after, he asked, "You hear what happened with Lauren?" "No," I said. "What happened?" He hesitated. "She and Jason. It blew up." I didn't ask for details, but he told me anyway. Apparently, the night Lauren stayed at Jason's, she expected comfort. Maybe more. What she got was a couch, a blanket, and a lecture about keeping things professional. Turns out, Jason had a girlfriend. Lauren didn't know. Or maybe she did and ignored it. Either way, Jason's girlfriend found out Lauren had been staying late with him, texting him at all hours, prioritizing him at events. And she lost it. Jason's girlfriend showed up at the office, walked right past reception, found Jason at his desk, and started yelling. In front of everyone. She called Lauren a homewrecker. She called Jason a liar. She threw his coffee at him. Security had to escort her out. But the damage was done. HR got involved. They interviewed people. They pulled records. They saw the late-night email threads, the after-hours meetings, the client dinners that were just the two of them. Jason was moved to a different team. Lauren was strongly encouraged to take a week off to reset and reflect. That's corporate speak for, "We can't fire you yet, but we want you gone." Marcus told me all this with wide eyes, like he couldn't believe it. I just nodded. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm fine." And I was. Update 6. During her week off, Lauren texted me from a new number. I made a mistake. I didn't respond. An hour later. "Can we please talk? I know I messed up." Still nothing. That night. "I miss you. I miss us." I blocked the new number. She tried calling from different numbers. I blocked them all. She sent an email. I set up a filter to auto-delete anything from her address. Then, one Saturday afternoon, she showed up at my building. The doorman called me. "There's a Lauren here to see you. Tell her I'm not available." She's insisting. Tell her she's not on the approved visitor list, and she needs to leave. Got it. I watched from my window as she stood outside for 20 minutes, looking up at the building, phone in her hand. Eventually, she left. I never saw her face to face again. 3 months later, I got the full story from Mia. We'd stayed friendly, texting occasionally, grabbing coffee once. She told me everything. Lauren quit her job. The tension at work became unbearable. Jason had transferred to another team, but everyone remembered. Clients asked questions. Her managers stopped assigning her to major projects. She felt frozen out. So she left. No notice. Just sent an email and stopped showing up. She moved in with a friend for a few weeks, then back in with her parents when that fell through. Her mom, according to Mia, was not sympathetic. You told your boyfriend not to come to dinner because of another man, her mom had said. What did you think would happen? Lauren tried to explain, tried to spin it as a misunderstanding. But her parents didn't buy it. She tried dating, set up a profile on an app, went on a few dates. But every guy eventually asked the same question. What happened with your last relationship? And she didn't have a good answer. She tried to stay in touch with Jason, texted him once, asking how he was doing. He didn't respond. His girlfriend had demanded he block her on everything. And he did, without hesitation. The work friendship she'd prioritized over me evaporated the moment it became inconvenient for him. Mia told me Lauren asked about me once. How is he? Lauren had asked. He's fine, Mia said. Better than fine, actually. Because I was. Final closure. I kept the apartment. I repainted the spare bedroom, turned it into an office, bought a new desk, a good chair, set up my computer properly. I started working from home 2 days a week. I liked the space. I didn't date for a while. I focused on work, got a promotion 4 months after Lauren moved out. I picked up hobbies I'd let slide, started running again, joined a book club, reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with. 6 months after the lockout, I met someone new. Her name was Ava. She worked in tech, different company, different world from Lauren. We met at a friend's party. She was funny, sharp, didn't play games. On our 3rd date, she invited me to a work event, a team dinner. I hesitated. You sure? I asked. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. She looked at me like I'd said something absurd. Why would you make anyone uncomfortable? You're my boyfriend. I want you there. It was such a simple sentence, but it meant everything. I went. I met her coworkers. I sat next to her at dinner. No one got weird. No one asked me to leave. I was included because she wanted me included. That's when I knew I'd made the right call. Because the night Lauren told me to stay away wasn't about one dinner. It was about a pattern I'd been ignoring for months. A pattern of me being an option, not a priority. A pattern of her comfort with someone else mattering more than my place in her life. I didn't change the locks out of anger. I changed them because I finally saw the truth. Some people will always choose the person who makes them feel excited over the person who makes them feel safe. And when they do, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away. A year later, I sold the desk in the spare bedroom. Ava and I were moving in together. A new place. Bigger. Brighter. One where I was never told to stay away. I heard about Lauren one last time, from Mia. She'd moved to a different city, taken a job at a smaller firm. She was still single. Still telling people her ex overreacted to one comment. But I knew the truth. I didn't overreact. I stopped underreacting. And the apartment I kept, the locks I changed, the boundaries I set, those weren't acts of revenge. They were acts of self-respect. Some doors closed because they were never meant to stay open. And some keys stopped working because the person holding them stopped being welcome. I don't regret a single thing.